Hi, Brock Anderson here, Hang Loose Outdoors. Gonna give you a little weekly tip for this week. Whew! She is smoking out here. This week has been absolutely a heat wave. It's got to be about 120% humidity right now out on the lake, and we've seen temperatures almost reaching into the 90s for the last couple days. You know what that means. When the weather is dead calm, hot, humid, there's always going to be a good night bite going on these deep, clear lakes around the Grand Rapids area. And as you can see, there is barely a ripple right now, 7 o'clock on Wednesday. And I'm just getting ready to, pull some spinners for the last hour before dark, and then I'm going to jump into pulling cranks. Great time of year to get out and do some night fishing. There's always a few walleyes biting at night, especially when it's hot and dead calm like this. And a big thing with that is just to go out and start trolling along the breaks, troll over the humps and the bars until you find a few active fish. And I always like to target a little bit shallower water. If you can kind of start out in that 15 to 20 foot range, right, as the sun's gone down, see if you can pluck out a few fish pulling cranks, and then kind of just start moving up shallower gradually as the night goes on. Once that midnight hits and the moon's full and bright up there, I like to target that like 6 to 8 foot. If you can find spots on the inside of the weeds, or if it's a sand flat or a little bit of rocks and cobble mixed in, that's when you're gonna get into the good fishing. I like to start out with something that goes a little bit deeper. These are probably my 4 go-to lures when it comes to cranks. The Selma Hornet, that is just phenomenal. The vibrations that puts off, dives a little bit deeper, that's, you can pull that in 10 to 12 too if there's no weeds, but it's phenomenal for that 15 to 20 foot range when the fish are suspending, running after bait when the moon's out. Another really good lure is Berkeley flicker shad. I like to have a little bit of chrome or a little bit of gold or a little bit of silver on those cranks. Add a little bit of flash when that moon's out. You can't forget about the old classic walleye diver, the Walleye Cortel. This lure and this series of lures has caught probably the most fish in my boat. They've been around forever. And then probably one of my favorites the last few years is the Salmo Sting, especially when you get into that shallower water. This doesn't dive as deep. It's a stick bait. This is definitely my go-to stick bait. The Husky jerk will work too, but it seems like that just puts off the right movement. It doesn't have much vibration, so you kind of want to pull it and just let it go back, pull it, let it go back, and they usually hammer it on that pause. A big thing to do too is when you're out trolling cranks at night is to fluctuate your speed a lot. Try going that 2 miles an hour. If that doesn't trigger anything, jump up your speed into 2.5, even 3 miles an hour sometimes. So, as the night goes on, just keep fluctuating your speed. And when you get hammered, look at your graph and see how fast you're going and kind of see if there's a pattern right there, because a lot of the nights, they want it faster. Some nights they want it slower. So just pay attention to that. Cover water and see where you're getting bites and go from there. If, you're out for a couple hours and you don't have any luck, some of these humps on these lakes get up to 2, 3, 4 feet and they got a little bit of rocks on them. Don't be scared to switch over from a crank and go to a slip bobber. Go to a lighted slip bobber. And just cast up, in that 6 foot range and let it float or let it drift up on the top and see if those walleyes are up on top. Because sometimes when you're trolling cranks, you can't get up that shallow without spooking them off. So if you don't get bit on a crank, try those lighted slip bobbers and move from hump to hump and see if you can get on some fish doing that. Again, it is hot, humid, and flat calm in the Grand Rapids area, and that brings out the night bite. So we're gonna sweat some more bullets for the last hour here before the sun goes down, and see if we can't catch some fish pulling spinners. It's all about reaction bite right now. The first couple hours in the morning has been good walleye fishing. In the last couple hours of daylight has been pretty good, but you got to ramp up your speeds, pull some spinners with crawlers and leeches. The day bite has been pretty slow on these lakes. If you can jump from pod of fish to the next pod, you can pluck one here, one there, but it's definitely been better in the morning, in the evening, and the night bite has been good. So thanks for listening, and hopefully this helps cool you down inside, because it is roasting out here. So give that a try this weekend. The full moon was last night, but the moon's still going to be up this weekend. I really like the tail end of the moon a lot better than the beginning of the moon. That waning moon period can have some of the biggest walleyes in your boat. So good luck this weekend. Thanks.